welcome back to my channel, or welcome if it's your first time seeing me on here, and more importantly, happy National Eating Disorder Awareness Week! Woo! Woo for the awareness, not for the eating disorders, just to clarify, in case anybody was confused on that. So this is a very exciting week, and I'm excited to announce that every day this week I will be posting a video. Might only be 6 days, we're hoping for 7. We'll see how it goes. I know it's been a hot minute since anyone has heard from me. College is hard, nursing school is a lot. Here I am though. Happy Eating Disorder Awareness Week. So this week is so important. I was always one who wondered, awareness? Who cares? Awareness, people just say that it doesn't do anything. Awareness does matter. If people, namely big companies, big institutions, the government, aren't aware that something is a problem, then why would they be trying to help it or fix it? You know, so the awareness does help. Also, I will be linking, would like to donate to the National Eating Disorder Association this week. Even $1 can help. If 100 people donate $1, then that's $100 to help end eating disorders. So any amount that you can donate is so appreciated and does actually help. To kick off NEDA Week, my first video, I am doing a day in the life at PHP. Hello? Rewind. For anyone who does not know, PHP stands for a partial hospitalization program. I went through a few videos ago explaining all of the different terminology regarding eating disorders, mental health, some chronic illness terms possibly, and if I can figure out how, I will do the little thingy where you can see that video, or I'll link it, or you can find it if you want to, I don't know. But anyway, so PHP is where you're there for essentially like a school day. Every day of the week, you go in before breakfast and you leave after dinner, which sort of makes sense. They gotta make sure we eat. So be going through what that's like, because I feel like that is what I had the biggest questions about going into treatment, and when I came out, what people were like, what the heck even is that? What do you do all day? What happens? Such a typical day in the life of something fun and glamorous. A day in the life in PHP. Really more a week in the life, because I'm going to go through all of the days were a little bit different. So I'm going to start with Sunday, because in my mind, weeks start on Sundays. Sundays were the biggest difference from all of the other days. Sunday didn't have to arrive until 10, and every other day you had to arrive at 8. That was good because that was a guaranteed day that you got to have a meal at home with your family, and you could even, if you were someone who regularly went to church, you could get an extension to come right before lunch if you were going to church, so that you could still do that too. And we would start that off with journaling and weekly treatment rounds, planning sessions. You would journal, you would do some about your goals for the week, how you're going to challenge yourself with fear foods, with anxiety things, with all these different things that your treatment team helps you delineate and figure out what you're going to push yourself with that week. Then we have a bathroom break. I will explain, in a treatment setting like this, we did have bathroom checks. Not everyone was on bathroom checks all the time, or what do we call flush checks? We call them flush checks. Being real here, because eating disorders make us sneaky. They're very sneaky. Depending on what level of risk you were and the nature of your disorder, whenever you went to the bathroom, you would have your, we called them MCs, or milieu coordinator, in charge of our group. They would have to check and make sure that you weren't putting food in the toilet that you would like hidden somewhere so you didn't have to eat it, you hadn't thrown up or taken a laxative, all these different things that could happen. Designated bathroom breaks for that reason, because can't quite trust us at that level of care to just go to the bathroom and come back by ourselves. We'd have morning snack, and so we'd go in the little cafe. There'd be different snacks laid out based on your current meal plan, and obviously we would never, with our meal plans, if someone's gonna ask me like, you know, well, how many calories were you at? How many of this? No. Different plans for whether you were on weight restoration or a weight maintenance meal plan. And so weight restoration is where we all start when we first go into treatment, because obviously you're coming in extremely malnourished, and so you have to restore to a healthy weight. And then after that, you're on a meal plan that's a little more normalized, a weight maintenance meal plan, where you're just working to maintain that healthy weight. So we would have snack, and then after that, we would have multi-family groups. This is when your family could come. Sometimes it was one of my parents, both of my parents, sometimes it was my parents and my sister that came. It would be everybody with their family members, and we would all do different types of groups together. And I know sometimes they would have groups for just the parents, and obviously all of us with the disorders were with each other all the time. I think it's nice just to see that there are other people going through the same thing as you. I don't know, I'm close to my family, so I always liked getting to see them during that part of the day. Bathroom break again. Then we would go to lunch. 30 minutes to eat. Oh, I forgot to mention before. So all of our meals were timed. So snack we had 15 minutes, and lunch we had 30. We could see the timer just to, you know, help ourselves ourselves keep track, but our MCs were really good about always, sometimes we would play music, sometimes we would play games, so that it made the meal less stressful, and that obviously all of us meals can be a very hard part of the day, that we're not sitting there just overthinking and our disorder running our thoughts about all the bad things about eating this meal. And that way we could all get through it together and support each other. And sometimes in between all of this, if we finished a group a little early or something, we would always have time, learn a lot of different card games. Sometimes we would read, we would have our journal so we could journal, do some art. We'd have some time in between where we're just kind of doing our own thing. People ask me, because I never used to be able to shuffle cards, we would play a lot of card games. After leaving treatment, I can shuffle cards. And then after lunch, we would have my favorite art therapy. I miss the art therapist so much, so much. I'm not gonna say her name for her own privacy, but you know who you are, and if you see this video, I miss you, and I love you. I hope you're doing well. Art therapy was one of my favorite groups. We always have a little bit of a focus of different days, and sometimes we'd have a word, just different tasks like vulnerability. We had one just about words in general and how words affect us. Had ones about body image, draw something on one side about yourself with an eating disorder and the other of you like without. You know, just all these different things. I just loved art therapy. It was my favorite group to get to do. Just getting to do the art and being in that setting, and then we would all go around and explain what our pieces meant. It was really cool to get to hear everybody else's and get to express what you were thinking and why you did it. Another snack, afternoon snack. Again, be all laid out. We go into the cafe, we grab our snack, sit down, 15 minutes to eat. Some things interesting. Have sleeves rolled up. When we went to treatment, you're just supposed to not wear anything with big pockets. If you have a jacket with pockets, unless it's the only thing you were wearing, if it was like just a sweatshirt, which then in the future they would tell you to wear something underneath. You can't wear anything with big pockets into the meal setting, bring anything with you, just again because eating disorders are sneaky, you know, hiding things up here in pockets, different things. And so that's how we always went into meals. After that, we had a body image group. Again, there was always like different focuses. We had one on the types of body distortions, where our body image was at, identifying when we're having disordered thoughts about our body. And after that, we would have managing anxiety groups. We'd talk through different coping skills, our favorite coping skills, compare with different people in the group to see where everybody was at and what they could do. Then bathroom again, dinner and daily wrap up. So dinner, again, another meal, 30 minutes, and daily wrap up. You'd have time to just sit down and work through how the meals went. Were you having disordered thoughts? Were you not? Oh, and then you would do goals for the evening, how you're going to challenge yourself, what your goals are for the evening, how you can do better than before, and then the coping skills that you're planning to do. Or you do like nighttime routine, goals, a few coping skills that you could use if different challenges came up. Essentially most of the days went like that. It's meals in groups, but all the groups were a little bit different. Monday through Friday was pretty much the same, with the groups kind of rotating. Or well, really Monday through Saturday we show up at 8, we start with breakfast, then we would have a different group throughout the day. Oh wait, no, Tuesdays we had art therapy. Alright, so we had something else on Sunday that wasn't art therapy that I can't quite remember. Then we'd have a role play group, which I was kind of on and off about at different times. It would kind of have scenarios, real life situations regarding eating and body image and things that could come up, act them out to figure out what we would do, what's a healthy way to respond, how would we respond if we were acting more disordered. And then on Thursdays we had yoga with Yoga Linda. I loved Thursday yoga. It was so much fun. We were very chill, just relaxing yoga. We would usually end just like laying down and doing just some like, she would like just kind of be like talking and there's music playing. We'd like go to our happy place. Sometimes I would fall asleep. It was just always so cool. Yoga Linda was such a cool lady. She was older and could do like all of her splits and was a queen. I miss Yoga Linda. We love Yoga Linda. On Saturdays we would have relapse prevention. What is a relapse versus just like a slip up versus like I'm really doing bad. Ways that we can actively prevent relapse from happening. A little bit of relapse happens to everyone. Just because you stumble a little bit doesn't mean you're all the way back to square one. Tuesdays and Thursdays we would have vitals. Weigh us. They would do blind weights, obviously. They would ever have us turn around, or the like number would be covered by like a sticky note so then they can look and write it down if we are weight restoring, obviously, because they need to know that, but we do not need to know that. They'd also do temperature and blood pressure as well. I can't remember why. There's something that happens with like your heart when you have an eating disorder and it can cause blood pressure issues, and that's some of the signs that you can see if you're in like a lot more critical danger. Monday through Fridays, if it's during the school year, in the summer I'm not sure what they do during this block, but we had school time because obviously you have to pull you out of everything because you need to be there that full time working on your recovery and getting help. But school is still happening. Like for me, it was my senior year. So we have those hours that sometimes the teachers, we had like a teacher on staff who sometimes teachers would send stuff directly to that teacher to give to us, or a lot of my stuff was online. So my teacher sent it directly to me and I could work on it in there. And that was just a really good time for just literally be catching up on school that we were missing. And it's important to note that that wasn't the biggest block of time in the day. Like all the other times we were doing groups and working on recovery, that could be time to do homework, and sometimes if you finished, sometimes I would read, but that was like our designated school time. And then we would have different groups. We had stuff like ID emo group. We'd have a different emotion each time. We'd be working through ways to describe that emotion, ways that you feel it in your body, ways that you act. That was kind of cool, especially I loved the one on shame versus guilt, because I think that's something that can get mixed up a lot. We would have nutrition groups sometimes where we would do something actually with food, which was definitely a more challenging group at times, especially sometimes we have to touch it, and some people with eating disorders can be very triggered when they're in that stage of recovery, touching different foods. And then we would be doing like portion sizing, looking at, okay, this is a healthy portion of this type of food that you need, because obviously, you know, we shouldn't be counting calories or seeing the weight of foods, but we need to know how much we're getting, because as adults, where you can take care of yourself. And then you would get pulled out sometimes to have an individual session with your therapist on staff, with your dietitian on staff, and with your psychiatrist. And your psychiatrist, I feel like we usually only talked with during, called it treatment rounds, where your whole treatment team and you meet together. And so, you know, dietitian, you talk more about fear foods, ways you're going to challenge yourself with food, how meals are going. And then therapy, you talk more the anxiety side, the body image side, you know, just that separation. And those are the times that you can really be more upfront, because while group therapy is amazing, I definitely went into it being like, group therapy is stupid, I hate it, I don't want it in my life. It ended up being so helpful hearing what everyone else was going through and realizing that they're going through the same thing as you. Then you have those sessions to individually work out your stuff that's going on. And I know my family loved, I don't remember which day it was, but there was one day a week when we had family dinner. Parents, I think one time my dad and my sister came to eat the same meal that you do in the same time that you do. And then afterwards you get to do a little like group with them. Usually I feel like it was art. Sometimes it was different things, but I feel like a lot of time you'd have family art instead of another group, so you'd get to do art with your family. That's what the Sunday thing was that I mixed up, because you had family meal, family there, and then you would have that art group with them there, I think. I could be wrong. And the way that it worked, you could work your way up to where you could have breakfast and dinners at home. You would start with, we called it a meal pass. Maybe you have a breakfast pass, so you get to do one day, one time, you get to do breakfast at home, or like, you know, if you went to like IHOP or something, you know, not at the center. You have to report like how it went, if you were being recovery focused during that meal, and if you do good with a couple of those, then you can graduate to having all breakfasts off, meaning that you come in after breakfast. You get to do that part of your day at home. And then same thing with dinner. You start with a dinner pass, and then that would mean that when other people are getting ready for dinner, you get to leave early and have dinner with your family, which was some of my favorite parts. Some other weird little restrictions and things that would happen. We had to turn in our phones at the beginning of every day. You just give them to the milieu coordinator or to someone in charge. You give them your phones, you get them at the end. To this level of treatment, you weren't actually allowed to drive yourself. Someone had to take you. I started off in a lower level of treatment and had to be bumped up. And when I was in the lower level, I drove myself there. And even though I could like legally drive, it's the recommendation of the center that you don't, because you're not really in a space where you should be doing that for yourself. And I mean, then there's always the, you could just not show up, or you could be late, you could do whichever. Sometimes you could get special extensions, like for special cases if you had to miss for something, because I mean, you don't miss treatment, like you don't. It doesn't happen. It's not like a, oh, I can just like not come to, no, like you go. And so I know there was one time when I got to go, well, I got a day pass to go to homecoming at my high school, which was really, really awesome and fun. And I at one point got a little afternoon pass to get to go to a drill team practice so that I could learn the routine and be in the dance for homecoming, which was also a really big deal because it was my senior year. Ooh, little different tips and tricks of things that you can and cannot say when you're in treatment. So we did not mention foods, especially we did not talk about food during meals, but we did not say like the names of foods. We'd always say component. And I made it into a joke at times, and we would try to find songs with food in them so that we could sub it in with component. But you never know what food is going to bring up bad memories for someone else. It's easier to just say component all the time. There's certain components that I didn't like, there's certain components that I was struggling with, etc. They have to watch us for over exercising, so we would have someone watching, make sure. Sometimes people would try to do jumping jacks, kind of like run around, because there was like, I need to work off the food that I ate. We obviously can't be doing that. I remember for me when I was in PHP, especially at the beginning, because I hadn't been eating, I was just so tired. I just wanted to nap like the whole time. Like, I'm just gonna curl up. You know, it's a hospital, so it's cold. So we're wearing like leggings, sweatshirts, even though it was like sometimes in the summer. We're just like, we just need to curl up. We're freezing. Ow, outing. That's what it's called. On Saturdays, if you had worked up to it, you could have an outing. Outing literally could be anything. You would have your snack while you're out, so you maybe go to Starbucks or something like that and have your snack. You'd have a list beforehand so that you're not looking there, looking at all the calories and everything. The center pays for it because it is, I think they paid for it. Don't actually remember. You would go together in the van with like our MC and the other people who were at a high enough level. You also had levels, you know, you start at level 1, you have certain restrictions. A lot of it usually included sometimes no time on your phone, no social media, no this, no that, like just nothing, and you worked your way up. So if you're on level 2 or level 3, you got to go on an outing. I remember one time we all went to Half Price Books and got to wander around, and you can buy stuff on outings. You don't have to. Like I bought a bunch of books on my outing, and then we went to Starbucks and had a snack. Another time maybe we went to the mall to go to Lush, or we went to a Barnes and Noble. I don't know, we were nerdy. We liked books. You would get to do an outing. That was cool because then it felt like you got to do something a little more normal. Then it also pushed you because you're back in the real world with all of their stigma and different views on food and different things like that. You got to feel a little more normal, and you weren't a sick mental health patient in a treatment center all day. You know, you had worked hard and then you got to go out and have fun. I think another time we went to Callaway's, the plant nursery. We just like got to wander around and look at plants, and it was fall, so there was pumpkins everywhere, all the little bitty pumpkins, and just getting to do things that make you feel a little more normal and brighten your spirits a little bit. Especially it's hard knowing that, you know, other people are getting to do fun things on weekends and on afternoons, and you're spending all day digging away at your eating disorder and everything that it's trying to tell you. And it's nice to have that little break that's still is supervised and supported by your peers and your professionals that are with you. Also, on Fridays we would have music therapy. Loved music therapy. I remember one time had to like come up with a song, like either about our eating disorder, to our eating disorders. It would switch off, and sometimes we would have practice with the ukuleles, because when you graduated PHP, our center, they would give you this ukulele. I still have mine. She's up there. I'm not gonna get her down. She's high up. But we got a ukulele when you graduated, and we would get to like, you know, try to work on how to play it, and that was something to look forward to also. Something like, okay, you know, even if right now I can't think about getting better for myself, I want a cool ukulele, so I'm gonna get better for that. Sometimes we would have to make like a group songs together. Another time we wrote down songs that were like important or influential to us, or that kind of represented how we felt at a certain point in our life. I think we had to do a song that was like us in our eating disorder, and then a song that kind of represented like hope and recovery and something that made us feel better. This is kind of a day in the life of PHP. You go in the morning, check in, turn in your phone. I was always kind of a little sleepy. I'd kind of curl up if I got to the room first on a couch, and like a little comfy chair, not like a couch, like a hospital couch. Kind of curl up, maybe read a little bit before breakfast, and then after breakfast you would have a group or two, snack, group or two, lunch, group or two. Sometimes groups would be really hard, and sometimes you would leave feeling like, wow, I'm really great, my recovery is going great. It always just depends on the day. Sometimes you have a great session with your therapist, and sometimes you leave complaining to your parents, this place is awful, these therapists are terrible, like they're so awful to me. And sometimes you leave and you're like, yeah, this is hard, but I think it's working and I'm getting better. And you have good days and bad days, big ups and downs, especially because a lot of times if it's your first time with the psychiatrist on staff, you're adjusting medication, but you have to adjust to that wave as well. It takes a lot of energy, physically, mentally, and emotionally, to break down all your destructive coping skills and all your eating disorder thoughts when you want to just be like, well, why can't I just not eat? Why don't you just leave me alone? You know, why can't I just hate my body? Everybody hates their body. You have to break all of that down. They have to prepare you, because when you go back into the real world, you're trying to eat normal in a world that doesn't eat normal and doesn't think of food normally. You think, okay, I'm equipped now, and you go out and people are counting calories and talking about how you have to exercise after you eat, and how food is bad, and how you can only eat this, how they need to not eat to fit into this dress. It's so hard to bombard you with all of that, which is why you have to be pulled completely out of that setting to break down all of those habits and thoughts, so that you can then go back in knowing, okay, it's gonna be hard, and not everybody else is gonna have the same mental training and work that you've gone through, but you're so much better equipped. And looking back, I needed it. I hated it. I fought it. I had to miss a bunch of football games. I had to miss drill team. I had to miss theater things. I had to miss school. Be pulled out of my senior year, and at first I hated it. I was like, no, I need to stay. It's gonna be too hard to catch up. But I wasn't gonna get better if I had stayed there. So a day in the life of PHP. A little bit different. You're watched a little closer. You know, you have to have people check after you go to the bathroom. You go to the bathroom and the mirrors are covered up by sticky notes and drawings of affirmations. You can only see your face, that you can't body check. You have timed meals. You're never quite alone. You can't get these friends you've made Snapchats and phone numbers while you're there. You can't be like exchanging Instagrams because of HIPAA, because everybody's in a different place. Play a lot of card games. You definitely cry. You develop new coping skills. You struggle through a meal. You do really good on another one. You help a friend. Another friend in recovery helps you. You go home. You hug your parents. You shower. You go to bed. And you do it all over again the next day. All these different groups, and some of it sounds like music, art, yoga, but then also really sometimes hard therapy groups digging into your bad coping skills, digging into the roots of your anxiety, all of these different things that you're having to work on. Well, sometimes a lot of people hiding it from the people that they know. There are a lot of people who didn't tell others why they were gone. I only told a few people at first where I was, and some people just knew that I was like sick or I like just wasn't there for a little bit. It's a lot to handle, and if you're out there, maybe you've just gotten home from your PHP group and you're working on your recovery, I'm so proud of you. It's so hard. It's so exhausting, and you're doing such an amazing job. Getting all emotional. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, happy first day of NEDA week. My goal is to post a video every day this week. We will see how it goes, as the NEDA theme is come as you are. We'll see if me as I am is a video every day this week, because I am also a full-time student and I'm tired a lot. Thank you so much for watching. Please share this video if you feel drawn to. Awareness is really important. I'm not saying to be like, I want followers, I want likes. It's really just hope that one of you out there watching this, that this helped you understand a loved one's eating disorder better, helped you feel a little less alone about your own recovery situation, and that you learned a little something. If you would like to donate to NEDA, the National Eating Disorder Association, I will be linking that below. That would be amazing. Every little bit helps. And this week, if you're someone who prays, keep people with eating disorders a little extra in your prayers this week. Keep them in your thoughts, and good vibes of recovery. Try to this week just rethink how you think about food and about your body, and think, if I was with someone who was suffering from an eating disorder, how would they think about this? I don't know. Little challenge for this week. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow.